Hi friends, this is Ashish from developerhut.net. Welcome to the Java 8 feature series, and today's next topic for Java 8 is the functional interface and default and static methods which newly introduced in Java 8. So let's start with functional interface. So what is functional interface? So functional interface is an interface which contains one and only one abstract method. There are a lot of other functional interfaces available in Java. Let's see. I will say Control Shift T, and if you see the runnable interface, okay, runnable interface is a functional interface because it contains only one abstract method. Okay, so how can we create a function interface? Okay, function interface, let me create one interface. So I will go here and I will say interface my functional interface. Okay, and I will add one method which is void method1, which will take a string, and I will say str. Okay, so I have one interface which contain only one abstract method, but is it sufficient to have only one abstract method? And can I say it is function, my interface is a functional interface? So no. For this, to make sure that this should be a function interface, you need to add the annotation, which is functional interface. So function interface. Okay, now my function interface is an actual function interface. Okay, so if somebody tries to accidentally modify this interface, this annotation function interface will make sure that this interface should not add any, there should not be any other methods available in this interface. Okay, so let's say if I try to add another method, so I say method2, which will take a string argument, and if you see, it will immediately throw a compile time error. Okay, so it is saying invalid functional interface annotation. My functional interface is not a functional interface. Okay, so if you want to add any additional method, you need to remove the functional interface annotation. Okay, but if you remove the function interface annotation, it won't be the function interface anymore. Okay, so that's the important thing. So this function interface are very important in terms of lambda expressions, which is added in Java 8, which we will going to see in a couple of sessions. So this function interface makes sure that there is only one methods available, and lambda expression can use that method during the code execution. So the next functionality which is added in Java is static and default method. So let's start with the static method. So as you are aware, in an interface only contain an abstract methods till now. Okay, now in Java 8 we can add additional methods which contains certain implementation. So you can add a static method. So I will add one static method. So I will say static void, let's say print, which will take one message. I will say message, and I can add the implementation. Okay, so I will say print and I will say message. Okay, so if I save this, there won't be any compile time error. Okay, because static methods are available in Java 8. Okay, so static method. Now next type of method is a default method which are available. Okay, so you can also add a default method. So I will say default void, I will say log, and I will say string message, and I will add an implementation again. So sysout, and I will say log and message. Okay, So here you can see this is the default method. Okay, so there is one big difference between these two. So static method, you can call a static method by directly using the class name. So if I use the functional interface name, my function interface dot I say print, you can see it here. So IntelliSense is showing that this method is available and you can pass the message. Okay, so you can, if you run this program, this will work. Okay, so I right click, I'll say run as, and I will say run as a Java application. So you can see, so static method we are able to run directly from the interface. Okay, now the default methods are only called using the once that particular interface is implemented by some other class. Okay, so you can in our earlier sessions we saw an for each method, right, which is available in iterable interface. So let's just check the iterable interface. So Control Shift T, and I will say iterable interface. Okay, here you can see iterable is an interface, right, and it contains one default method. Okay, so for each is nothing but a default method, okay, which contains an actual implementation inside the interface. Okay, so now if you want to call the default methods from an interface, you need to implement this interface. Okay, so let's try to implement this. So I will say implements my function interface. Let's implement and method, which is method 1. Okay, I keep this blank for now, and I will create an object of my interface. Okay, interface, and I will say new functional interface demo, and now you can call your default method. Okay, so you can say log, and I will pass the actual argument, and if you just run this program, okay, you can call this method. Okay, so make sure that this default method will be only called once you have an class which implement this particular interface. Okay, because interface is incomplete without the class, that's why you cannot call the default method. Okay, however static method you can still call without implementing this interface. Okay, so this is the catch. So this is the one way of implementing this interface. I will just quickly show you the another way using the anonymous class, which we used in our earlier video sessions, in which is the for each method, where I implemented the consumer interface, right? So you can directly create an anonymous class instead of creating an interface. I will just remove this because I don't want this to be implemented, and I will say a new my interface. I will keep this blank as of now because I'm not using it, and I will just directly call the log method. Okay, so this is another way of implementing the interface. So this is an anonymous class. I don't want my class to be implement this interface again. Okay, so you can also use this type of implementation of interface in your code. So I hope you understood the concept of functional interface, the static method and default method. So if you have any specific questions, please add your question in the comment section below, and if you think this video is informative, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.